Comfort doesn't scream. It doesn't grab you by the throat. It whispers. It creeps in silently, slowly suffocating your ambition while making you believe everything's fine. You wake up, go through the motions, eat, scroll, sleep, and somewhere in that cycle, your fire dims just a little more. We live in an era where comfort has been glorified to a godlike status. Everything is designed for ease. Food delivered to your door. Entertainment that never ends. Algorithms feeding you exactly what you want so you never feel the itch of boredom. But beneath that surface is something far darker. The slow erosion of your potential. The most dangerous prison is the one you don't know you're in. And comfort is exactly that. It's the invisible cage, so beautifully decorated you mistake it for freedom. But if you zoom out, you'll see the bars: procrastination, distraction, fear of failure, a craving for validation. You think you're living, but you're drifting, stuck. You weren't born to be average. No one is. But the reason most people stay that way is because they become addicted to the feeling of comfort. Not the kind that heals, but the kind that sedates. It becomes the new normal. And the moment you try to break free, to pursue something great, meaningful, resistance punches you in the face. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to start something uncomfortable, even when you know it's good for you? That's not laziness. That's the trap reinforcing itself. Your brain has been trained to equate effort with danger and ease with safety. So the second you try to escape the routine, to create something, build something, change something, the comfort zone grabs you by the ankles and pulls you back. You tell yourself it's just for today, just a break. You'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And before you know it, you've buried your ambitions under a mountain of cheap dopamine and soft excuses. But let's go deeper. Why is this trap so effective? Because comfort mimics happiness. It gives you just enough satisfaction to stop you from chasing the real thing. You feel okay, not fulfilled, not empty, just okay. And okay is the enemy of greatness. You don't need to be in pain to be stuck. You just need to be numb. And that's exactly what comfort does. It numbs you. It kills your urgency. It tells you that your goals can wait, that you're already doing fine, that greatness is for someone else, someone richer, smarter, more talented. But none of that is true. Most people don't fail because they tried and fell short. They fail because they never even tried. They thought they had time. They thought their talent would wait for them. They thought there would be a better moment, but time doesn't wait. It punishes the passive. And by the time most people realize this, they spent decades in the cage, a cage they built themselves, brick by brick, excuse by excuse. Even worse, society rewards it. You'll get praised for being balanced. You'll be called responsible for choosing the safe path. You will get claps for fitting in, for doing what everyone else does. Get a decent job, follow the rules, stay in your lane. It's all set up to keep you comfortably average. But if you ever want to escape that trap, you have to do something terrifying. You have to get uncomfortable on purpose. You have to go where there's no applause, no guaranteed outcome, no one cheering you on. It means waking up earlier than you want. It means showing up when you feel uninspired. It means working in silence while others are being celebrated for nothing. It means becoming the type of person who chases pain, not because you like to suffer, but because you understand the truth. Comfort is where dreams go to die. You can't become great without discomfort. It's not possible. Every champion, every icon, every visionary, they all have one thing in common. They embrace the grind that most people avoid. They made a home in discomfort. They use pain as a compass. And here's the dark reality. If you don't learn to suffer on your terms, life will make you suffer on its. You'll suffer the pain of regret, the ache of what if, the quiet devastation of mediocrity. That's what the comfort trap really costs you. The future you could have had. The person you could have become. Look around. How many people do you know who gave up on themselves? Not because they weren't capable, but because it was easier to coast, to stay safe, to follow the script. They were never forced into mediocrity. They chose it one comfortable decision at a time. And Unless you break that cycle now, you will too. You want to be great? Good, but don't fantasize about it. Do the thing. Wake up early. Train harder. Learn more. Show up even when no one's watching. Because the price of greatness is discomfort. There's no shortcut. No hack. No cheat code. There's only the work, the sweat, the loneliness, the fear, and your decision to keep going anyway. Because here's the truth they won't tell you. Every time you choose comfort over progress, you're making a silent agreement to stay average. And greatness will not wait for you to change your mind. So what's it going to be? The comfort of now or the greatness of later? You don't get both. There's a virus living inside your mind. Not the kind you catch from people. The kind installed through repetition. Conditioned into you since the day you could walk. It doesn't infect your body, it infects your belief in yourself. It rewrites how you see the world and, more importantly, how you see your role in it. It's called learned helplessness, and it's one of the biggest reasons most people never become great. You didn't choose it, it was given to you. From the moment you entered school, you were trained to obey, not to think, to wait, not to act. You were taught to raise your hand to speak, ask permission to use the bathroom, and follow instructions from someone standing in front of a whiteboard. Every minute of every day was scripted, not for your freedom, but for your compliance. What they never told you is this: systems aren't built to raise leaders. They're built to maintain control. And you were just another unit to be managed. Another cog in a machine that needs silence more than innovation. Predictability more than potential. Over time, you learned to stop trusting yourself. You began waiting for validation. You learned to shrink your voice, to doubt your instincts, to look outside yourself for every answer. Because the moment you relied on your own judgment, someone corrected you. The moment you acted freely, someone punished you. So you stopped. You stopped asking too many questions. You stopped challenging authority. You stopped thinking for yourself. This virus is subtle that it doesn't scream, that it whispers things like, who are you to do that? What if you fail? Someone else has already done it better. And over time, these doubts become beliefs. You start to assume your limits are real, that the walls around you are permanent, that some people are meant to rise, and some like you are meant to follow, but that's the lie. Learned helplessness isn't a condition, it's a mental trap, one so deep that most people don't even realize they're inside it. They call it humility. They call it being realistic, but in truth, it's submission. A slow surrender to the idea that your actions don't matter. You see this everywhere. People scrolling endlessly through content they'll never apply. People talking about dreams they'll never pursue. Waiting for the right time, not realizing that waiting is the very thing that's killing them, because this virus trains you to wait. Wait for permission. Wait for motivation. Wait for certainty. And so your life becomes a series of delays. Projects you never start, skills you never learn, risks you never take. All because you've been taught that movement without approval is dangerous. But what's truly dangerous is standing still. The system doesn't care if you live a fulfilled life. It doesn't care if you reach your potential. It only cares that you're manageable, that you fit into your assigned box and never question who put you there. That's why greatness is so rare. Because to break free from this virus, you have to reprogram yourself. You have to undo decades of conditioning. You have to start believing in your ability to act without certainty, to move forward without approval, to rise without waiting for someone to pull you up. And that's terrifying. Because when you erase the excuses, when you stop blaming your past, your parents, your teachers, your boss, all that's left is you and your choices, you and your habits, you and the truth that if you fail, it's on you, but that's where your power is. It's because the same mind that was programmed to obey can be reprogrammed to lead. The same thoughts that kept you passive can be replaced with thoughts that make you unstoppable. It starts with a decision. A quiet, dangerous decision to stop being a follower in your own life. To stop waiting for someone to choose you and to start choosing yourself. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely. You'll make mistakes. People will doubt you. but that's the price of freedom. That's the cost of killing a virus. You're not broken. You're not weak. You were just taught to think that way. And once you see that, the game changes. You begin to notice how often you've hesitated when you should have acted. How often you've sought permission when you should have taken the lead. How often you've stayed silent when your voice could have changed everything. And you realize it's not that you didn't have power. It is that you gave it away, a little at a time, until you forgot it was ever yours. But now you know, and once you know, you can't unknow. You can't go back to pretending that your inaction is someone else's fault. You can't go back to waiting for the system to save you. Because you are the system now. You are the architect, the operator, the source. That's what kills the virus, not motivation, not hype, just a brutal shift in belief. I am not helpless. I was just taught to think that I was. Repeat that every day until it sinks in. Every time you doubt yourself, remember, that doubt isn't yours, it's borrowed. From a system designed to keep you quiet. Return it. Burn it. Replace it with something forged from truth, not fear. The truth is simple. You can change your life. You can become great. You can rewrite the entire story. But only if you stop living the one they wrote for you. You're not held back by your abilities. You're not trapped by lack of opportunity. Most of the time, what keeps you average is the people around you, not because they hate you, not because they're evil, but because your ambition threatens their comfort. Your desire to break free makes them feel the weight of their own chains. And most people, they don't like feeling that. They'll never say it out loud. But the moment you decide to grow, they'll feel it. They'll feel judged, even if you said nothing, because your evolution is a mirror and it reflects what they're not doing. This is the social chain. Invisible, heavy, and far more powerful than you think. It's the reason you shrink your voice. It's the reason you laugh at jokes you don't find funny. It's the reason you hide parts of yourself to fit in, because on a primal level, we're wired to belong. To be cast out of the tribe once meant death, so we learned to compromise. To adapt, to prioritize connection over truth, and in doing so, we made a silent trade. Our authenticity for their approval. But here's the truth. You will never become great if you're addicted to being liked. You will never become powerful if you're terrified of being misunderstood. And you will never live fully if you keep editing yourself to make others comfortable. Because greatness requires isolation, at least in the beginning. The path to greatness is not crowded. It's not well lit. It doesn't come with applause. It's lonely. And that's what scares most people off. They don't fear the work. They don't fear the failure. They fear walking alone. Because once you start breaking free, once you stop partying, stop gossiping, stop settling, people start leaving. Or worse, they start mocking. Oh, you're too good for us now. You've changed. Don't forget where you came from. But those words are never about you. They're about them, their discomfort, their fear, their unwillingness to grow. Still, those words sting. They hit something deep. Because no matter how strong you are, a part of you still wants to belong. Still wants to be seen, heard, loved. And that's the chain. The fear that if you become too different, you'll be abandoned. So you stay small, you dim your light, you pretend to be average. But here's the dark truth. You are already alone. You just haven't admitted it to yourself. Because being surrounded by people who don't understand you, who don't challenge you, who don't support your vision, that's not connection. That's proximity. And proximity is not loyalty. It's not growth. It's not love. Sometimes being truly alone is better than being surrounded by the wrong people. Because when you walk alone, you hear your own thoughts again. You reconnect with your fire. You remember why you started. You become dangerous, not because you're reckless, but because you've stopped needing permission to exist. And something powerful happens in that silence. You realize you never needed them. You wanted them. You hoped they'd come with you, but your path, it was always yours. Most people will never understand what you're trying to build, not because it is unrealistic, but because they've never even considered it for themselves. You're talking to people about freedom, but they've only ever known cages. You're talking about legacy, but they're thinking about the weekend. You're chasing purpose, and they're chasing approval, different frequencies, different futures. And the more you grow, the louder the tension becomes. They say you've changed. As if that's an insult, but change is the point. Change is the goal. Change is the reason you're not stuck like them. Let them talk. Let them laugh out. Let them doubt. Because while they're watching you, judging you, criticizing your every move, you're rebuilding something they'll never understand until it is too late. And one day they'll see the results. They'll call you lucky. They'll say, I always knew you had it in you. They'll act like they supported you from day one, but you'll remember the silence, the distance, the doubt, and you'll know it was you. You who sacrificed, you who stayed up late, you who kept going when no one cared, you who learned how to be your own validation. That's the price of greatness. And most people won't pay it because they don't want the isolation that comes with leadership. They don't want the tension that comes with truth. They don't want the weight of self-responsibility. They want community, even if it means staying stuck. You want freedom, even if it means walking alone. And yes, it will hurt. You'll outgrow people you love. You'll lose friends you thought would be there forever. You'll sit in rooms where no one understands what drives you. But on the other side of that is something far better. Alignment. The right people will come. The ones who see your vision, the ones who speak your language. The ones who don't get intimidated by your growth. They get inspired by it. But they can't find you if you're hiding in the crowd. They can't reach you if you're pretending to be someone you're not. You have to become visible, even if it means being seen alone first. So here's the truth no one tells you. If you want to become great, you must be willing to be misunderstood. You must be willing to be alone for a season. You must be willing to walk away from anything that makes you forget who you are. Because the higher you rise, the fewer people can breathe at your altitude. And that's okay. You were born to fit in. You were born to break out, cut the chain, let them go, and keep climbing. There's a myth that ruins more lives than failure ever could. It's the myth of time, the idea that you have plenty of it, that there's always more, that life will wait while you figure things out. But time is not on your side. It's not patient. It's not kind, and it doesn't care about your excuses. Every second you waste, it quietly takes from you, not loudly, not suddenly, but silently through hesitation, through distraction, through comfort, and most people never notice until it's too late. They tell themselves the same lie over and over again. I'll do it later. I'm just waiting for the right moment. I need to feel more ready. But the right moment never comes. Because it was never supposed to. There's no perfect mood. No magical day. No green light that tells you, go. You're waiting for a sign. But the truth is, you are the sign. You were supposed to act. Not when it's easy, not when it's convenient. But now, because the longer you wait, the stronger the resistance becomes, you start to normalize delay. You start to believe in someday, but someday isn't a day of the week. It's a death sentence dressed up as patience. Ask the people who are 60, 70, 80 years old, what do they regret? It's never the things they tried and failed. It's the things they never started, the words they never said, the risks they never took. Regret is always rooted in hesitation. But why do people wait? Because taking action means taking responsibility. It means you can fail, and there's no one else to blame. So they wait. Because as long as you haven't started, you can still live in the fantasy of what could be. It's safer to imagine the dream than to risk building it and failing. But that's safety. It's an illusion. While you wait for courage, time moves. While you wait for clarity, time moves. While you wait for confidence, time moves, and one day, it runs out. You will look up and realize it's not too early anymore. It's too late. The people who win in life are not the ones who were most talented. They're the ones who moved first. They started before they were ready. They launched when they were scared. They acted in the middle of the chaos, not when the chaos was gone. They understood one thing. Action is the cure. Waiting is the disease. You can overthink your way into paralysis. You can research yourself into stagnation. You can plan every detail and still never begin. Because movement isn't about having all the answers. It's about choosing to build while you learn. You say, but what if I fail? Here's the better question. What if you succeed and you never find out because you were too scared to try? That's what most people will never know. They'll never know how strong they could have been, how far they could have gone, how much they could have created, because they waited for something that was never coming. Certainty. Let's be honest, you're not waiting because you don't have time. You're waiting because you don't have urgency. If I told you you had 30 days to live, would you keep scrolling? Would you still be worried about being ready? Would you still wait to start that business? Write that book? Tell that person how you feel? Of course not. You'd move. You'd act. You'd fight. So what changed? The clock. The awareness of time. See, time isn't the problem. Your illusion of it is. You think it's infinite? It's not. You think you're young? You might not be. You think your window will stay open? But one day you'll wake up and it's gone, and no one's going to warn you. No alarm goes off when your opportunity expires. You just miss it, and it doesn't come back. That's the cruelty of time. It only moves forward. You can't hit rewind. You can't get a refund. You can't go back and try again. So you better make this moment count. Because if you don't, this moment will become one more thing you lost. One more step you didn't take. One more chapter of your life that never got written. Look around. The graveyard is full of people who waited. They waited for clarity, for support, for the world to tell them it was okay to go all in. And now their dreams are buried next to them. But that doesn't have to be you. You can choose something different. You can act now, not later. You can build with what you have, not what you wish you had. You can take one imperfect step instead of waiting for the perfect plan. And if you fall, good. That means you moved. That means you started. That means you're alive. Waiting is slow death. Movement is rebirth. So here's the truth. You're not running out of motivation. You're not running out of resources. You're running out of time. And if you don't use it, it will use you. The clock is ticking. The future is watching. And your greatness is waiting. Not patiently. Not forever. Just long enough to see if you're serious. So show it. Don't say you want it. Prove it. Not next month. Not next year. Now. Because now is you ever had. And now is already fading. There's a lie that kills dreams faster than failure ever could. It doesn't sound cruel. It doesn't sound dangerous. In fact, it sounds almost reasonable. Safe. Humble. It's this, not everyone is meant to be great. You've heard it. Maybe you even said it. But what you didn't realize is that the moment you accept that belief, you kill your potential in cold blood. Because this lie doesn't steal your fire all at once, it drains it drop by drop. It makes you settle just a little. It convinces you to aim just a bit lower. It allows you to exist instead of pushing you to dominate. It whispers that maybe you were meant to watch, not lead, to clap, not create, to follow, not rise. And when you believe that, you give yourself permission to quit. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Greatness is not given, it's claimed. It's not for the chosen few. It's for the ones who choose themselves again and again and again. It has nothing to do with fate, luck, birthright, or talent. It's about refusal. Refusal to accept the script handed to you. Refusal to stay small when you feel the fire for more. Refusal to die with your potential still inside you. But most people, they don't want to hear that. Because if greatness is a choice, then their mediocrity is too. And that truth is too heavy for most to carry. So they tell themselves a softer story. That some people are just born to be average. That they're not built for big things. That other people have something special. And by saying that, they excuse themselves from the work. They don't have to fail because they never try. They don't have to suffer because they never stretch. They don't have to risk because they never reach. But inside, they know the truth. You can see it in their eyes. A quiet sadness. A silent frustration, not from trying and losing, but from never giving themselves permission to even begin. Because believing you're not meant for greatness makes it easier to sit still, to scroll, to binge, to distract. It gives you cover. It gives you comfort. But comfort is a coffin. And this belief is the shovel you use to bury yourself alive. Let me tell you something brutal. No one's coming to save you. No mentor, no opportunity, no algorithm, no miracle moment. If you don't decide to be great, you won't be, period. The universe doesn't reward the passive. It rewards the persistent, the stubborn, the obsessed, the irrational. The ones who dare to believe they can be more than what they were told. That's what separates the great from the forgotten. Not bloodline, not IQ, not who they knew. Just a decision. This ends with me. This average bloodline, I'll break it. This poverty, I'll rewrite it. This fear, I'll silence it. This weakness, I'll outgrow it. And while most people are arguing about what's realistic, the great ones are building what's never existed, while others are talking about balance. The great ones are sacrificing, bleeding, and rising. And here's what will really sting. Most of the people who said not everyone's meant to be great will spend their lives watching people who once sat next to them do exactly that. They'll see people with less talent, less intelligence, fewer resources, but with more will, more heart, more hunger. And they'll realize it was never about what they lacked. It was about what they settled for. And by then, the window will be closing. See, greatness doesn't knock twice. It doesn't wait around. It shows up quietly, urgently, and asks you one question. Are you ready to give everything for this? And most people say no. Not with words, but with their actions. With every excuse, every delay. Every day wasted on things that don't matter. But if you've watched this far, you know something's wrong. You can feel it. That ache in your chest isn't confusion. It's unlived greatness begging to get out, and you can't silence it forever. You weren't born to blend in. You weren't built for it just enough. You weren't designed to watch life pass you by. You were made to lead, to break rules, to shake the ground when you move. But no one can give you permission for that. You have to take it. You have to stop waiting for someone to crown you and start acting like the throne was always yours. You don't need a sign. You don't need to be picked. You just need to decide. Because the truth is, you were always meant to be great. Not because someone told you. Not because you're special. But because you choose to be. Every single day. Every moment you act when others hesitate. Every hour you give when they quit. Every time you choose purpose over pleasure, that's when greatness is born. Not in one big moment, but in 1,000 small ones. And if you don't believe that, you've already lost. So stop telling yourself you're not meant for this. You're just afraid to become the version of yourself you're capable of. Because once you do, there's no going back. No hiding, no pretending. You either rise or you rot. And you're done rotting. So stand up, burn the lie, and walk into the fire like you were born for it. Because you were